Do you really want a girlfriend in the Philippines? This is a bit of a difficult video to make, but look, I wouldn't have it any other way. Let's get into this video, okay? Now, personally, I love being single. I know it's not a popular opinion, but I mean, look, I was in Butuan, when I landed here in the Phils, and then I went to Bohol and Dumaguete and San Carlos, Cebu, Manila, Angeles. I love this. Nobody's telling me what to do. I go wherever I want. I stay any place I want. I stay for as long as I want. I do what I want. Let's say I get a breakfast at Envy's, okay? If I was there with a girlfriend, I'd have to buy 2 breakfasts. But since I'm alone, I order just 1. And if I want another breakfast, I order it. But I enjoy it all myself. I remember having a girlfriend in the past, and maybe, my experience is different than your experience. But what words come to mind with my own past girlfriend experiences is it's temperamental, picky, spoiled, or wants to be spoiled, princess, never satisfied. It's the attitude of, what will we do this weekend? Like it's my job to entertain them. My natural instinct is to say, come to my place and we hit the sack all weekend, but if she asked what I want to do on the weekend, come after work on Friday and leave Sunday, 8 p.m. I only had one girlfriend that was down with exactly that, and it was the Korean girl that a lot of you saw the video. I made that vid a few months ago. I'll link that vid down below. But that was really the perfect girlfriend before. But girls, they don't like that for the most part. Like they don't like to stay in bed a weekend. They like to go out and do stuff. Romantic crap. Like what the comedian Bill Burr, he said. They like to look at your schedule and find when you're free. Then they will, want to fill that time slot with some crap. The guy's thinking, that's my relaxation time. The girl's thinking, well, being with me is relaxing. We're going to get wine, the girl's thinking, and salad, and we'll walk around the park, but not for too long because we got to go to this particular restaurant. And the guy's paying for everything, of course. That's not relaxing to me. I remember one girlfriend in Korea, a Friday night date with her was dinner in some part of Seoul, a movie in another part of Seoul, coffee over there. Then as we're walking back to her place, she says, I'm so tired. I'm thinking, well, no crap, you're tired. We spent the whole evening shuttling around Seoul from one place to another. That's not my kind of evening. Update on that girl. Update on this princess, by the way, okay? She was a sales exec for Microsoft when I met her, okay? During the time I knew her. But I talked to her. She grew exhausted from that job and now teaches Pilates, 1-to-1 there in Korea. Makes a small fraction of what she used to make with Microsoft. And you know what? She's a hell of a lot more humble today. Lift her up and you got a hell of a price to pay, but bring her back down to planet Earth and suddenly she's right back to normal. The female breed, they are a tricky bunch. Now, the good thing about Filipinas is that they're perfectly fine with just hanging out at home. That's what I like about Filipinas. They're homebodies. And also the reality is, they don't want to be judged by other Filipinas or Filipinos, like walking around holding hands with the foreigner. The judgment from others is, she's just with him for the money. So that's why the Filipinas, they if they have a foreign boyfriend, they like to just hang out at home. But that is, they're happy staying at home if they are real Filipinas and not, feminist, nutzy Filipina Gucci babes who have been lifted up by some past foreign boyfriend douchebag. I've seen YouTubers make vids on this particular subject, okay? But the subject is kind of opposite of what I espouse. These guys want to feel good about themselves by saying, we got to leave them better than how we found them. Kind of like a reward for their next boyfriend. Look at Runaway Gio and his girlfriend before, Gingaling. Jesus, like what a train wreck. His goal was to raise her up and then dump her. Kind of a sociopathic way to do things. I mean, what a success. She turned into a super chat Nazi. She would say like, thank you, Sir Rick.
Thank you, Sir God, for the blessings.
5 minutes later, she's like, who's Rick? I saw $100, $500 super chats on her live streams, even more in donations in PayPal. Because one guy said in Ging's live stream, did you get that $300 donation on PayPal? And Gingeling says yes and moves on to the next one. You know, what a spoiled brat. The guy replied in her live stream with literally, and I quote, "That's all I get for $300. Well, Gio lifted her up. Now no man wants her. And if you do want her, it's because you don't know her. The temperamental piece of crap has a real temper on her, and she hates men." The word on the street is that this ex-girlfriend of Gio's is El Prego. She is pregnant. She got pregnant with a subscriber, and not one of you simp super chat subscribers. She got pregnant with a subscriber who gave her nothing but a stiff stabone. So you simps need to pull up your little pink panties and wake the hell up. So she is pregnant, okay? This ex of Gio's is Prego, but she does hate men. Like, for example, I remember one guy on a live stream said that he has a place near her university because she was looking for a place, you know, and if she ever needs it, you know, she can stay at his place. You know, it's a convenient location near her school, which she graduated from, but now stays home. So yeah, money well spent there. But her reply to this guy, this nice man who wanted to help her, was, "No, I don't need a place. I have a place." I'm watching this, like, okay, like, can you just say it nicely to the guy? But no, she hates men. I'm thinking, like, what the F did Gio create here? But when Gio met her, when Gio met Ging, she was sweet and innocent and living in a boarding house trying to get by in life. And by the way, the two did sleep together on the very first date because, you know, she didn't hate men at the time. She grew into hating men. It was after Gio when she began hating men. But when she was humble, she was well versed in the art of dropping trow. Anyways, folks, now she has her own house, and that's good for her. You know, her simps helped her buy the house, and now another guy bangs her in that house, and this guy donated zip. I mean, it's good for her, right? Now, if I were Gio, I would have kept her in the boarding house. I would have made sure that if I did leave her, nothing in her daily life had changed from when I met her, unless I knew that I wanted to marry her. Totally different story, because, well, what did Gio do when he lifted up Ging? He had a hard time dealing with her. Lift her up and pay the price. On Gio's live one time, remember, he said he would consider reversing his vasectomy for Ging because Ging wanted a baby. I guess good thing they didn't do that. Good thing they didn't make that babe, because Gio did what he does best. He got what he wanted and he took off. Let's get into this a little more deeper here, folks. As I stated clearly, some YouTubers are or have made videos about leaving them better off after you met them than before you met them, okay? So can we all agree this is a fantastic plan? We can have more Gings running around terrorizing the universe.
Thank you, Sir Gab.
I mean, it's the world's greatest plan. Who would not agree with it? I mean, as far as American feministas are concerned, they will all agree with you, and there is no reason why they wouldn't. They are the greatest people who have ever existed, the American feministas. We will all agree with you, and that makes you feel good. Let's get into the root of the problem here, folks. Let's look at my meaningless concern for the next generation, a concern that nobody will likely agree with, but it's worth putting it out there. Let's start with you, flying out to the Phils. But before you get on that plane, please listen. If you are into the girls being raised up and liberated, like what you want to do to the poor Filipinas, just stick to America. Don't come here and create a new batch of liberated women, which is step one in the process of becoming a liberated Nutsi feminista. Consider just sticking to America, as it's got a lot of them for you. After all, you seem to love them. Have at it. Have them all. I mean, you got an unlimited amount of liberated women who have been lifted up by society. Look how that turned out for you. It's perfect for you. You love liberated women. It's the world's greatest movement happening in America, so don't leave. And apparently that leads you, the American in the Philippines, to say, screw this, I'm out of here. Okay, like, fair enough. You're heading out to where the babes are still level grounded and have not been lifted up to the moon. Because look what happens when they are lifted up by society. There's no end to the lifting up process, folks. I mean, they are never satisfied. A tricky bunch these women folks are. I mean, you understand this, obviously, right? So now the American man who left America because he didn't like the lifting up of the babaroonies there is is flying into the good old Phils. And what is he doing? He is inventing this new concept that makes them feel so great. Leave her better off than when I met her. Well, congratulations. You have found a way to feel good about yourself. Yeah, we are all so proud of your genius plan. We're very impressed. I mean, it's no wonder the babes at home in America didn't throw themselves at you. But you left because you don't want them lifted up. You want to do the lifting. But in America, they've all been lifted up already. So you come here to lift up these babaroonies in order to feel good about yourself, when in actuality, you are creating the exact society you wanted to flee in the first place. I mean, hey folks, let's be real here. You know the goal. We know the goal. We know the goal of the guy who wants to lift them up. His goal is that he will someday be in heaven looking down on his little babaroonie, and she will be all alone, sitting on the bed, twiddling her little thumbs, not knowing what to do now that daddy is with the big man upstairs. So here you are, okay? You're up with the big man, looking down on your little babaroonie, and you're thinking, wow, I did a great job. Pat myself on the back. She's in a nice apartment instead of a boarding house that she would have been in. She's got her Gucci bag with her and she's all alone. I mean, she's obviously alone. You have now created a Gucci babaroonie, and that's great. You know, the one thing the world needs more of. The one thing there can never be enough of. The one thing we all come to the Philippines for is more Gucci babaroonies, right? And look at you up there in all of your grandeur, up there with the big man, looking down. You have created another one. Another Gucci babe. Fantastic. And we all thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. Thanks to the great men who wanted to lift her up, lift them up in such a way that makes themselves not pay the price. The next guy will pay the price. Let me put this into context here. You lifter-uppers, okay? You have a favorite restaurant in Dumaguete, okay? The girls will get 20 pesos tip or whatever, 10, 20, 30. And the new hip thing to do created by the lifter-upper is to tip them 500. Forget 10, 20, 30. We tip 500 because we want to lift them up, because that's what Steve at Steve's Info Channel says to do. Tip them well, he says. Help them out. Give them a big tip. Let's do this in your favorite restaurant there. Minimum tip is now 500 pesos. Let's lift them up, folks. Let's lift them up with our tips, just as you lift up your little babe. Now a year goes by, okay? You finish your meal and you leave a 500 peso tip, and she takes it and walks away. You're thinking, wow, I remember when a 50 peso tip made them very happy. They were so thankful. But today, thanks to Steve at Steve's Info Channel, now they just expect a 500 peso tip in order to get that same genuine smile and thank you that you had before with a 50 peso tip. Now you got to give them a 1,000 peso tip to get that same genuine smile. Damn, they were so happy a year ago with 50 pesos. Good for you. This is what you're doing. Effing it up for the next group of guys. The good thing is there happens to be a lot of girls available. So I'm not worried about it for me, myself. Hey, I'm 45, my generation and up, okay, will be okay, because there's plenty of girls. They keep popping out more babes all the time. But I'm just bringing this to the surface, folks. Bringing up the inevitable. If girls want to be lifted up, hey, that's the bomb, okay? But it's up to the girls to lift themselves up. If you're going to take that responsibility away from the girl and do it for her, you are doing her a disservice, and also a disservice for the next group of single men who come into town. Because the next group of men, the next generation, will need to find another country where the women are willing to be, let's say, a good wife. So good for you if you think that is the way you want it to be. But just remember, okay, what you had in mind when you came to the Phils in the first place and wanted to find that perfect humble girl. Was she holding a Gucci bag when you found her? Or was she wearing rags, hoping the great foreign guy would accept her? But you just can't help yourself, can you? You are bound and determined to repeat the lifting up process that made you leave America in the first place. Like all my vids, take this vid with a grain of salt, folks. I will see you on the very next Bitterino.